You're watching a replay of Brain Drain with Rich Cabaceres. For more videos just like this, hit that red subscribe button.
Good morning, you're listening to Brain Drain on the legendary 1480 WSAR. I'm Rich Cabaceres. And you can watch us anywhere in the world by going to WSAR.com on the Spindle City Autoglass Studio Cam. You can join the conversation and watch us live anywhere in the world on Facebook.com by going to Brain Drain with Rich Cabaceres. We have a Facebook live feed going right now where you can comment below, join the conversation, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world because we are now worldwide here at Legendary 1480 WSAR. That's right, because you can listen to us anywhere in the world by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. And from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, my voice comes to you live in your ears anywhere in the world by going to the TuneIn Radio app, typing in 1480 WSAR. It's absolutely free. And of course, if you're listening old school on the AM airwaves, I'm happy to hear you. I'm happy that you're listening, and I want to hear what you have to say about today's topic. So you can call in 508-673-1480 and weigh in. So Donald Trump has been in office for 1 year's time. I think I said that right. It's his first year in office. So now people are starting to give him grades. The question is, what do you give Donald Trump for a grade? I'm sure you have something in your mind and you say, he did this well, he did that well, or he did nothing well. I want to hear your opinion. And let me give you the CNN opinion. So CNN is the first grade that I've kind of seen out there other than the polls. And CNN says, exercising presidential power, they give him an A-, and there's a reason for that. Immigration, and I added to the conversation, mother of all bombs. Legislating, they gave him a B- because of the recent tax legislation that he just pushed forward. Coalition building, C, because of the holdout, because there's basically, who has he built a coalition with? He's been holding out on everybody, and there really hasn't been a coalition built at all. Next, America's standing in the world, he got a D. And that's because basically the only two allies that CNN could point to was Israel and Philippines. So he got a D. And lastly, moral leadership, they gave him an F, and they pointed towards the support of racist and xenophobic organizations, and they said that he's treating the presidency as if it's a reality TV show. Call you live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Sure. So I'll give Donald Trump a grade.
Sure.
Actually, I'd probably concur pretty much with, I think you said CNN's grade. I think I might have given him a D. What was the second last category you mentioned before?
Moral leadership.
Moral leadership, that's definitely F. And then what was the other one? That was
All right, so we'll go down the list right now.
Yeah, go down that.
Exercising presidential power.
Yeah, I give him an A for that. I think he's pushing the boundaries, and that's what you usually see, some of the latest presidents do.
Okay, what about legislating?
I'd actually go down to a C-. I think they could have been more done last year. I think they were more of a failure, with the whole healthcare thing. Not to say that I want to see that happen, but, you're controlling both houses of Congress, and you're the president all in the same party, and you could only get one thing done all year. So I think, they did get something done. Otherwise, that would have been enough.
Okay. What about coalition building?
I'd probably go D- or F. That's kind of really, I didn't really see much there other than building coalition within his own party.
Okay. Next up, we have America's standing in the world. I think you gave them a D. Was that a D or an F?
I'll go with an F on that one.
Okay. And lastly, moral leadership. You had said you had already said that. Yeah. So, caller, thank you so much for your grades, and I'm sure other people are going to want to weigh in. You're live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Well, when I heard those sighs and those screams from that last musical interlude, I thought at first it was Kathy Ann Viveros and Mary Shahidi when they learned what the raises were going to be from the mayor.
Hold on.
Question.
with your beard. Ah!
You mean that one?
Here you go, big fella.
Cedric
Yes,
Maxwell
indeed.
took the words right out of my
there's-
mouth.
There are sighs and guffaws on the 6th floor this morning, is there not?
How about that?
Listen, I wondered, I know those two raises came just to hit on the local aspects for a moment, because I know it is local radio, but just to hit on that situation for a moment, I picked up in the paper a line that said that the monies came from a surplus account in the mayor's account, I guess it is. And I wondered why he perhaps didn't think to give that money to the DCM relative to the past storm. I live on a street that's one way, and I was fascinated by the fact that during the height of the storm, we had snowplows going up a down street, pushing the snow against the cars that were parked on the legal side of the street.
You know what people were saying all day during the snowstorm?
The damn road can't go.
Right?
Bingo.
That's exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to sit down with the head fellas at the DCM and say, let's try to figure out if a street is one way, then maybe we ought to get on this right side of the street that we're supposed to be plowing. Anyway, just to wrap it up, I don't know how the council is going to react to these astronomical raises relative to the folks that have gotten the two of them. But I suspect that there will be some conversation at the next meeting, in addition to the fact that we are up against the wall relative to the March 6th proposal on the Durfee High.
speaking
Or
of the
as Steve
wall,
Camara would say, the BCM Durfee High. But in any event, I would like to hear more maybe in the coming week, and I'm sure you're going to probably get it set up where people could call in and just vent relative to the pros and the cons of the new high school, if you will. I
caller,
look forward to hearing about that, and I hope you have a great day.
thank you. You too, caller. Have a great day. You're listening to Brain Drain on 1480 WSAR. You still have one more opportunity to win a free entree at a Vos Feast in Fall River on 1601 Pleasant Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. So don't miss out on that delicious Portuguese food. I'll see you on the other side of the break. If you're on the line, stay on the line. We're grading Donald Trump's first year in office. Stay tuned. Call you live on 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I am alive. I hope you are the same. Well,
Sounds
I
good.
pulled out my teacher's red pen. I'm ready to give him a grade.
Sounds
Can we
good.
go down the list?
Let's
sir?
go down the list. Exercising presidential power.
I have to change that one a little bit. I'm going to call it exercising authoritarian power. A plus.
Okay.
You know, when you talk about stripping away regulations, when you talk about use of executive power, when you talk about bullying the employees in EPA that they can't even use certain words, when he continues to profit from his own businesses. I learned this morning that the Philippine ambassador to the United States is the person who writes Trump's checks from his businesses in the Philippines. Yeah, I'm going to say authoritarian. Let's move on to the next one.
Legislating.
D, maybe.
D maybe. So that's a D with a squiggly line on the side of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, the only thing they accomplished was the tax bill, and they lied to they paid off some of the Republicans to go along with it, and they lied to others. And to me, that's not the way America is supposed to work.
All right, what about coalition building?
My pen is exploding on me. F minus. This clown was supposed to be the great deal maker and the great leader, and he gets everybody. You got to be kidding me.
All right, next up, America's standing in the world.
F.
Okay.
Yep.
Moral leadership.
Now my second pen exploded. F minus minus.
Now, caller, I know that you have.
And I'm dead serious on all of those. By the way.
I know that you're a strong. You believe in the Democratic Party and some of the things that they promote.
No.
Oh, would you call yourself an independent then?
No.
What would you call yourself?
I'm technically a Republican.
Oh.
People's heads explode when I say that. You
I
could go
I
down
think
to
my head
City Hall in
exploded
Bedford,
like
and you would find I'm a registered Republican.
I think my head exploded like your pen exploded.
Absolutely. But see, I'm an example of the Republican where the party has moved away from me.
Okay. Well,
I think it's more important to say today not whether you're Democratic or Republican, but whether you're moderate, conservative, or liberal.
I think that's fair. Caller, thank you so much for your
You
call.
have a good one.
You too, thanks. Call you live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I wonder if you could answer me a question. This government shutdown that they're talking about,
Yep.
What about people's Social Security checks?
So the way that a government shutdown works is, basically people don't get paid anywhere. So ultimately what happens is people who are in the military, unless they're essential people, they don't go to work. People don't get paychecks. And granted, it's the type of thing where those are the last. If the government shutdown continues over an extended period of time, you may not get a paycheck. But if it's shut down because we've seen this in the past, right? We saw this where there was a government shutdown, I believe it was under Barack Obama, and it happened for, I think it was 15 days. It was only a few days, and the only people who really experienced any type of hardship were people who worked for the government.
Oh, people at work. All right.
Right, but should they be playing chicken with lifestyles?
You got that right, but they get paid, though.
Oh, of course they get paid, right? Just like they can insider trade and make themselves millionaires.
Naturally.
Right.
So, like, my check would be due, like, next week. So if they shut down Friday, I wouldn't get it. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it really depends on how they work the whole thing out, and I think they pay more essential things as opposed to. And I'm using the word "think" on purpose because I think everybody's kind of guessing at this point in time what's going to happen, because we've seen it before, but it was such a short period of time. We don't know what happens if it's an extended period of time. Caller, what do you give Donald Trump for a grade?
0.
0. So we're going to go with the 100-point scale, and he gets a 0 out of 100 points.
Oh, please, don't even go there with me. I don't even want to. I could. Are you kidding?
No, tell me why you feel that way, caller.
I think he's a disaster. Number one.
Okay, why do you feel he's a disaster?
He is. He's not. He's a baby. He wants things his way or no way. It's his way or the highway. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Caller,
Don't
thank
get
you.
me started.
Well, caller, the whole point of this show is to get people started. It's the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
People are excited. People are listening at work, yelling at their stereos, yelling at their computers because I'm either making them really happy or making them really insane.
Well, it works. I can't say too much.
You got it. Caller, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Caller, live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Ah, good. All right, let's go through the list.
Okay. So, Donald Trump's first year in office, how do you think he did with exercising presidential power?
Oh, very well. Very well.
Okay.
Hold on, let me turn down the radio.
You got to give him a grade, though. A, B, C, D, or F, not E.
Oh, A.
All right. What about legislating?
Legislating, I think he's doing a B- because Congress has got to learn to do deals that count.
Okay. They got to learn the art of the deal, right?
They've got to go in there with a real deal because he's not selling out.
You got it. What about coalition building?
Coalition, didn't he want to talk to Nancy and Mark?
Are you talking about Marco Rubio and...
No, not Marco. Nancy Pelosi and Schumer.
All right, so Mark Schumer and Nancy Pelosi?
They didn't show up.
Yeah, well, do they think that it could have been a productive conversation, or have they had conversations before? I think that's fair.
I bet you they have.
So what do you give him for coalition building?
I would say that's in the C area.
And it's... Okay, so C.
That's the C. Because they're not ready to play. They didn't think he was a president for the first year, if you realize what they said. Right? They still couldn't get over the fact that they were dealing with somebody who was not a politician.
All right, what about America's standing in the world?
Definitely up. He's not afraid to use the stick or the carrot, use money as a stick or a carrot for them to perform or to go along with what he says. Look at the UN.
All right, and so what do you give him for a grade?
Me, in general, an A-.
Okay, and what about moral leadership?
Moral leadership, hey, he's to the point. He said what he was going to do, and he's kind of gone through the checklist.
Okay. So what are you going to give him for that?
Oh, definitely, he's following the script. I'll go with an A.
All right. So you gave him a pretty good grade. You said coalition building was around a C because of his conversations with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
No,
but
I said because they weren't ready to talk.
That's
so
right.
It's going to take a while for them to come in. When Dick Durbin went in there with the same plan that he talked about, like before they even talked, well, that was a waste of time.
Now,
Anybody who's been in a large company, wow, that's a no-no.
it sounds to me like you like Donald Trump's presidency in the first year. Then.
Well, let's put it this way: the tax cuts are going to go to 80% of us. I'm not one of the people who goes $833 to meet a month to meet the SALT requirements. I mean, I'm not a six-figure guy, and I doubt very few people in the Fall River area are. Wall Street, he's made my 401 Glen Cape. My gosh, I can't tell you. I look like a superstar when I talk to my wife.
You're gonna love when happy wife, happy life, right?
Oh, well, it's good. You gotta. The only thing is, hey, you gotta grab it so often. Namely, you get all this stuff, all this money that comes in, where you got appreciation and you get the dividends, and then you gotta say, okay, I want it as mine. You sell it. Keep it, and then go back and play.
Caller, thank you so much for your call. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Call you live on 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. So for grading, you got to run me through those
Sure.
fields again for grading.
Sure. So Donald Trump's first year in office, how do you think he did exercising presidential power?
A B minus.
Okay. What about legislating?
A C minus. He wasn't. We didn't get anything amazing legislatively other than the tax bill and the nomination of Neil Gorsuch. And I don't agree with the tax bill, but you know what? No matter which way you slice it, that's he got a tax bill through, so you got to give him something, even if it's a crummy bill.
You know what? Regardless of how you feel about it, you're right. He did get it through, and people have been talking tax reform for a long time.
Yep.
Coalition building.
B minus.
B minus or D minus?
D minus.
All right. As in Delta.
Yeah, I think that would actually go up if he. It sounded like he had a deal for DACA with the Republicans and the Democrats, and then he did whatever he does in typical Donald Trump fashion and nixed that, and now we're going to have a government shutdown. So went from being probably a C+ to a D- real quick.
Okay. What about America's standing in the world?
F.
Okay. And what about moral leadership?
F-.
Well, okay. So it sounds to me like you don't like Donald Trump's first year in office.
No, not particularly. There's very, very few things I think that he's done well at accomplishing. I don't agree with his rhetoric towards North Korea, but it's interesting how the Koreas have suddenly responded. They're going to be working together at the Olympics. They're going to have the same flag. They're going to march together. So that's kind of an interesting thing, and I think he might have a hand in that. And then I also think that I don't agree with him moving the capital of Israel or recognizing the capital of Israel as Jerusalem, but he's essentially just doing something that every other president kicked down the road for a very long time. So, and I'm sure he didn't do it with good intentions. I'm sure he's just like, hey, let's just do this and see what happens. But you know what? That's something he did, and I got to give him a little bit of credit for that. But otherwise, don't agree with just about anything else.
Caller, thank you so much for your points. Have a great day.
Thanks, Rich. You too.
Bye. Call you live on 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning, Rich. How you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good. Mama said, is it test time?
So you're going to be able to grade Donald Trump's first year. So
yeah.
What do you give him for exercising presidential power? Caller?
Average.
All right, so A, B, C, D, or F? C?
Yeah, C.
All right. And I'm going to try to avoid putting words in your mouth. When I think average, I think C. Okay. Legislating.
C. D.
What? A D?
D, yeah.
All right. What about coalition building?
I like what he's doing in Israel. I gotta give him like a C.
Okay. What about America's standing in the world?
D.
Okay. And last but not least, moral leadership.
F.
Okay. So it sounds to me like you're kind of still in the middle about Donald Trump or not liking Donald Trump. You're leaning towards not liking him. Do I have a fair assessment of that?
No, I'm not really too fond of him.
Okay. Okay, and tell me why.
You know he has 24-karat gold fixtures in his sink and kitchen.
Well, sometimes people appreciate gaudy, and 24-karat gold fixtures is a little bit gaudy.
No, I know. That's a little... I don't know. It's crazy because Tupac talked about that 20 years ago about who needs 24-karat gold, and that could feed or that could fund our school and our children.
That's two hip-hop references in one caller. You got to be careful. You might break the airwaves.
Yeah, I mean, this is why sometimes, what is too rich? You know what I mean? How much money does one need? And does money truly bring happiness?
Well, that's it. Those are great questions, and capitalism would say there should be no cap on how much money somebody could make. But caller, we do have to go to a commercial break. Thank you so much for weighing in and giving us your grades. And I am looking forward to talking to you in the near future, because today is Thursday. At least I'm pretty sure it's Thursday, and we get a long weekend for the show, and then we come back on Monday. So, caller, thank you for your call. I hope you have a great day.
I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
I know we all have to come together. I mean, I made a reference of Puerto Ricans being refugees, and I mistook on that. I didn't mean to say that. Obviously, they're territorial citizens. That is the proper term, right, Rich?
Yes, they are territorial citizens.
Okay. And that was just something. I didn't mean refugees. It's like anybody that comes from any war-torn area, in my opinion, which is a hurricane to me is almost like a war-torn area. I mean, I've been through some tornadoes, and it's pretty bad. I've seen the aftermath of some tornadoes, so it's the equivalent of like a Category 4 or 5 hurricane. So when you see that devastation, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's pretty much almost like war. Like you've been through hell. So obviously, people that have been through hell do need assistance and do need help. And it's just not Puerto Ricans. It's from even the Syrians, watching them Syrian babies. I mean, we just have to have compassion. And maybe I said a couple of words, another caller had referenced Rich, and I'm just trying to recorrect that it's all about humanity and what we help and try to do for each other.
Caller,
and divide everything as we need to the vets and then people who need everything too.
Caller, thank you so much for your clarification. And one thing that I got to say to you, and I'm going to hang up on this point, but one thing I got to say to you, have a great day, is that we all have brains, we all have opinions, and sometimes opinions are different than other people, and that's okay. We need to embrace that as opposed to try to keep that behind the curtain. We have to also check our own opinions before we bring them out into public, because we may be misinformed, or our opinions may not meet or may not be flatly good opinions because they're backed by nothing. Actually, if there's a shutdown, government workers must report to work and do diminished duties for no pay. So if it benefits no one, and essentially it is a bipartisan temper tantrum, then potentially it's a bipartisan temper tantrum. Thank you for that comment. And we are grading Donald Trump's first year. We're going to go right to the calls. Call you live on 1480 WSAR. Hello?
Hi, Rich. Long-time listener. Second-time caller.
Thanks. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Love the show. I'd love to get right into the report card if we could, if you give me the topics.
Sure. All right. So CNN put a couple of things on how you could grade Donald Trump. And first was exercising presidential power.
Oh, A. He absolutely knows what he can and can't do, and he does it. There's not a lot of time wasted on debate, and he lets the House and Congress really decide if it is law, if it'll go through, which we've seen a few things.
Now, caller.
But he sees an action item, he goes for it.
Now, caller, I'm going to kind of speed up the process because we're going to power through because the news is coming up in a couple of minutes, and we got
All right, lightning round.
full lines. All right, so legislating.
A.
Coalition building.
A.
America's standing in the world.
I'm going to say America's standing in the world, a B+.
Okay, and moral leadership.
Moral leadership. Here's the sticky wicket. He is going under and through the same exact scrutiny as every other sitting president has in the history of our country. He's got more publicity now because of social media and the availability of information and the availability of opinions to cross the country at a light speed. So I'm going to give him a B, which I would give every other president because it's more how he reacts to the scrutiny rather than what he does with it.
So you're digging Donald Trump's presidency?
I'm digging it. I'm digging the tax cut that's going to come in the next year.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for your call, caller. Have a great day, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
All right, caller, you're live on 1480 WSAR. We have 1 minute, so we're going to kind of breeze right through this. Okay, caller?
Okay.
All right. So exercising presidential power, what do you give him for a grade?
F.
Okay. What about legislating?
F.
Coalition building?
F.
American standing in the world?
Definitely F minus.
Moral leadership?
F.
All right, we got 20 seconds. Tell me what you think about Donald Trump.
I think Donald Trump is enriching himself on the country just by his travel, what we're paying for all the security for New York, Mar-a-Lago. He spends more time on vacation, and he doesn't comprehend anything.
The grades that were given to Donald Trump are interesting. So 34% of the people who gave Donald Trump a grade gave him an A or a B. 35% gave him an F, with 14% making up C or D. And there's some interesting factors in this poll that was recently taken. And this is on Donald Trump's first year in office. Men were more positive than women, and 50% of women who took a vote gave him a D or an F. What say you, caller?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I'm calling about the right caller for your radio station.
You're not caller 17, caller.
Okay.
But
That's fine. Donald Trump, forget it. Forget him out.
So you give Donald Trump an F for forget it?
Yes.
All right. So why do you think Donald Trump is doing a bad job?
Well, most of the time, I don't think he knows exactly what he's talking about, that he's listening to the people, his advisors letting him know what to say. But I didn't like him from the beginning. He should just stay on TV and have his program on TV. I think we need another leader.
Okay, so we have
in this century.
We have 3 more years of Donald Trump. What do you think he can do better?
Well, hopefully he is going to just stay focused on what's going on now and help us to get ahead in the world for peace and unity for everybody.
Caller, you know what? What you're asking for is harmony. You're asking for peace, and you're asking for more understanding. Am I hearing that correct?
Yes.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your points. I'm sure everybody listening really appreciates them. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And, I think people who don't like Donald Trump, that's exactly what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he is xenophobic, racist. He separates people as opposed to brings them together. And the people who like Donald Trump, they're saying things like, he's saying what has needed to be said for a long, long time. We're grading Donald Trump. His first year in office has just went by, and we are grading him. And we have CNN's ratings, we have polls that have been done by people, and I'm kind of doing a poll right now. So we're at the 13th caller right now. And we're at the 13th. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was Cedric Maxwell trying to rear his head. Wow. So, Cedric, I understand you want to join the conversation, but you might want to calm down there a little bit. But yeah, let's continue grading Donald Trump. I guess let me talk about a little bit on how I feel Donald Trump is or is not doing. And I'll talk about a little bit differently and what I think he's done well and what I think he hasn't done well. Donald Trump, what has he done poorly, in my opinion? I think there's some real credence to the statement that he has been appealing to these racist and xenophobic groups. I think there's some real credence to the statement that he's treating the presidency as if it's a reality show. But here's the question. If majority of the people in this country are paying attention to reality shows more than they are politics, is that what a president has to do to get reelected? So I guess that could be bad or good. What do I think he's done well? I think he's one of the first presidents in a long time who got some tax reform done. Whether you like the tax reform or not, he got it done, right? So there's something to be said about that. We're going to go right to the lines. Caller, you're live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
All right. This getting old stuff ain't for, wimps.
I guess we're all doing it every single day, right? Getting old?
Yep. Everybody says, they want a politician who's honest. I want a guy in there who's going to tell me the truth. But now you got that, but you can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a guy who has no filter. He'll tell you the truth, whatever it is on his mind. You know what I mean? But you'd rather have your ears tickled now instead of being told the truth.
Well, you bring up a great point, and it's the PC culture, right? Political correct culture.
Yep.
Do you think that's helping our country, or do you think that's hurting our country?
No, I think it's destroying this country. It's destroying everything it touches. It destroyed the NFL.
Yeah.
Everything liberalism touches, it's like a cancer. It destroys everything.
Well, let's be clear, caller.
That called in, and he was just F. That's exactly the kind of people, we don't need to vote because, they're voting based on an ideology, not, you gotta, he can't be doing everything wrong. You know what I mean?
Now,
honestly, I think he's doing a great job.
Now, caller, real quick. So first, I think that to point to liberalism as the problem for being PC is not necessarily true. A lot of people are being PC on both sides of the aisle.
Because they're getting called out. Here's what happens, right? Liberals decide that they want something, let's say, I don't know, they wanted homosexuality to be okay and gay marriage and all. I'm just using it for an example. I don't care. You do what you want. It's your business, your life. I don't have any issues with gay people. I have a lot of gay friends. I got gay family. It doesn't matter to me. I love those people like I love anybody else. Anyway, they want to, pass some reforms for gay people, help the gay community. First thing they do is they, invent a word for it. Oh, you're a homophobe. So now anything they want, if you don't agree with it, oh, homophobe. Oh my God, I don't want to be a homophobe, so I'm going to go along with the plan. You know what I mean? It's the PC thing is nothing more than people. They don't want to say what they're saying. They're saying it because they don't want to be called out by the other side. You know what I mean?
All right, Cole, let's go into the grades. So I'm going to allow you to grade. And we've had grades from A's to F's and everywhere in between. So let's go right down the list. Exercising presidential power. What do you give him for a grade?
A, absolute A. A guy does what he was elected to do, and he doesn't care what anybody else has to say about it, and I love that.
All right, legislating.
I'd say because of the fact that he's got more resistance than any president in recent memory, and still getting stuff done, I'd have to give him an A on that too.
All right, coalition building.
I'd say B plus.
Okay. America's standing in the world.
The way I look at things, I'd give him an A because I don't think America should be the Santa Claus for the world. I think it's better to be, feared and respected than it is to be coddled into, having your ears tickled and to giving somebody what they want. In other words, oh, you're so great, now give me $1 billion to help fund my infrastructure, which I think is what happens a lot. But
okay, and last but not least, moral leadership.
I'd say probably a B.
Okay, and that's one of the lesser grades that you gave. Why do you feel it's a B?
Only because I like the guy, and I'll put it to you this way: people change. you're not the same guy you were 10 years ago.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not the same guy I was 10 years ago. I'm not even the same guy I was yesterday when I woke up. You know, things happened yesterday, changed my mind on stuff and made me a different person. Maybe a small degree, but it did. But just because of, like, he's got some issues with the whole talk inside the trailer there with that grabbing the women and, that type of thing, that kind of turns me off a little bit. I understand where it came from, and I don't think that, he is like that. I think it was more, stupid talk than action, but that's really the only thing.
Okay.
I know him to be, before he got elected, all accounts were he was a very decent, giving, and generous individual, helped a lot of people.
Caller, thank you so much for your points. Thank you for your grades. Have a great day, caller.
You too.
Thank you. And I'm going to go right to the Facebook comments. On the Brain Drain with Rich Cabaceras Facebook page, people are commenting as we speak. And one person said, although I am a Democrat, I voted for Donald Trump because I believe that he is what this country needs. He speaks his mind and tells it like it is. And that's what we need because he says he wants to get all illegals out of the country. And he's a racist. When people look back, I'm thinking they're saying when he says that, they consider him a racist. But when people look back, other people have said the same thing. So one person said, fired, as in the his old reality TV show. He's fired. Call you live on 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
1480. If you're at work. Well, hold on.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, turn down the.
Come on, Rick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. President Trump.
Yep.
Okay, let's start from the top.
All right, and just so you have a heads up, we're going into a break, so I want to kind of keep it short.
Okay, we'll do it real short. Go ahead.
All right, exercising presidential power.
A minus.
Okay, legislating.
I'm going to say B plus only because he's getting too much resistance and can't get any of his programs through, and he's getting it from both sides.
Coalition building.
I'm going to give him an A minus. Again, because some people may not like what he's saying. He's telling it like it is.
America's standing in the world.
A minus.
Moral leadership.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Moral leadership.
Moral leadership. I'll give him a B minus on that.
Okay, so it sounds like you've liked Donald Trump's first year in office.
Well, I think he's done what he said he was going to do. Okay, he doesn't play the game. You may not like what he says, but he says it. He's almost like a throwback to Harry Truman.
Caller, I think you make some very fair points and very fair arguments.
The buck stops here. And, MacArthur was given a CMH during World War II because of what happened in the Philippines when he should have been demoted.
Caller, thank you so much for your call.
You take care.
Have a great day.
Bye.
One person on Facebook Live says, the man is great, the end. That's his rating for Donald Trump. Let's dive right back in to the conversation. Caller, you're live on 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you.
So let's start the conversation. What do you think? What grade do you think Donald Trump should get in exercising presidential power?
Absolute A, and let me give you some reasons.
Sure.
He stopped the flow of outgoing American monies by the billions of dollars. Number one, on his first day of his presidency, he signed a law stopping the flow of money for abortion clinics overseas. $750 million for first day. He strengthened NATO. They are now paying their fair share, so the American money that's been going to NATO is now reduced. He changed the rules of engagement in the war in the Middle East, which has greatly accelerated the defeat of ISIS and the Taliban. He strengthened the American military. The stronger the military is, the less other countries are going to challenge the United States, especially those totalitarian countries.
All right, Cole, you're skipping ahead to some of the other things we're going to vote on. So legislating, what do you think he gets for a grade for legislating?
Absolute A. He has total opposition from the Democratic Party, the entertainment media, and the news media.
All right, coalition building.
Absolute A. You have to have somebody to build a coalition with, and the Democratic Party is totally united since the election to obstruct his agenda.
America's standing in the world. You already hit this a little bit, but what do you give him for a grade?
Oh, absolute A.
And moral leadership.
I'll give him a B.
Okay. And so it sounds to me like moral leadership is the thing that you think that he needs to improve on.
Yes, publicly.
Okay. I think that's fair. Now, so it sounds to me like you really, really, really like Donald Trump.
I absolutely do. I take the tax thing alone. I'm making $3,600 more a year with the tax. In other words, I can cut my taxes I've been paying to the federal government by $300 a month.
Yeah,
Nancy Pelosi considers that to be crumbs.
Caller, thank you so much for your points. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And somebody on Facebook just said to me that they give him the grade of B. So we have an A kind of all the way across the board except for moral leadership. So I think that'd be an A, at least an A, maybe an A minus. And somebody on Facebook says B. We're going to go to the next caller. Caller, you're live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Rich.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's dive right into the grading, if we can. Exercising presidential power.
Hey, go ahead.
Legislating.
I give him a B plus.
Okay. Coalition building.
A.
America's standing in the world.
B.
Okay. And last but not least, moral leadership.
I give him a B.
Okay. And tell me what you think about his presidency overall in the first year.
Well, I think he's doing good. I think he's doing what he said he was going to do. He's following his agenda. And I like most of what he's doing, although I do question what he's doing with DACA. I think that needs to be refined, especially people that were brought here at a young age and didn't have any say in the matter, and they lived a good life, and they were good citizens, and now they're being sent back. That I don't agree with at all. Criminals, rapists, murderers, drug dealers, send them back. But other than that, they need to come up with devise a plan for the good, the good people.
When a plane is crashing, you are told to put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. The reason is, if you can't breathe, you can't help others. Until the USA can breathe again, we can't help others. So, I don't know, and if you want to continue commenting on that, what do you give Donald Trump for a grade for the person who made that comment? Feel free to add a grade at the end of that, and I'm taking a guess, but I think I know where you're saying. What I think he needs to do to get better. And I think one of the best things that he can do to get better is think before he speaks. What say you, caller? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling about the Donald Trump grading.
Sure. All right, so let's go right down the list. So how do you think he's doing exercising presidential power?
Well, that's probably the only exercising he does, and he does very little of both physical and presidential power. The thing is, I don't think he's doing anything good. I'd give him an F.
You're going to give him an F across the board.
Right.
Okay. All right, call it. Now, why do you feel that way?
Well, I've been following him for many, many years, long before he became political, when he was a so-called entrepreneur in New York. And I know that kind of man he is. In my estimation, he's a despicable excuse for a human being. So it's kind of hard to have someone with those character flaws being a good president. They don't. It's an oxymoron.
Caller, thank you so much for your points.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Call you live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Not bad. All right, so let's go down the grading.
I'll save you that. I give him an A in every category.
Okay.
Here's why I say that, because he's there just to continue the dog and pony show. Basically, let me see if I can put this in terms, because this is a good example. I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it, but I'll try. The Illuminati basically controls the media And here's why I say that, because we're talking about what Donald Trump, his ratings are, while in San Diego, California, we have 12 activists that were feeding the homeless and got arrested, and the police are saying you can't do that on city property. I thought the people were the city.
Well,
how come we're not talking about issues like this?
And we can, caller. The thing is it's what is being talked about in the mainstream media, unfortunately, is a lot of things.
The mainstream media is all controlled, and if we don't talk about issues such as this, how are the people going to realize what's going on? And here's another one. On this radio station on Friday, it was a teacher.
Before you go ahead, caller, I just want to bring up this one thing. We're getting close to the end of the show. There are a lot of people waiting on hold. And, I want to hear your points, but I wish we had more time to do it.
Because you're just going to hang up on me and change the subject.
No, caller, actually, that is not the case. And I hope that you call in on Monday and we can have the conversation. So, that being said, I hope to hear from you on Monday. I really appreciate your call. I appreciate you listening. And I want to talk about things like how you feel about the Illuminati, how you feel about who's controlling the country. So,
no, you really don't, because you don't know. Nobody on this radio station brings it up. Because the media is controlled, and if
caller, we're locally owned and operated. We're not controlled by the mainstream media. Regardless of what you feel, you know how shows come up. It's based on what I see and what I hear from people out on the streets. So I appreciate your points. We're going to go to the next caller in the interest of time, because I want to make sure everybody has a fair shot. Caller, good morning.
Morning. Well, the polls. It's funny because I've been listening to all the people giving him A's. It certainly doesn't reflect his approval rating polls.
All right, so what do you give him in exercising presidential power?
I give him C-.
Okay, what about legislating?
Legislating, he's gotten one or two things passed. Give him a C-.
What about coalition building?
I don't know enough about it.
Okay. What about America's standing in the world?
America's standing in the world, I give him an F.
And moral leadership?
F-.
Okay, so it sounds to me that you think he's doing at least, or at most, subpar.
Doing some things, but he's not doing it the right way.
Caller, thank you for your points. We're getting close to the end of the show.
And don't go telling people you give them a free hot dog, because I had a conversation with you for over an hour. And it never came up.
No, and actually, caller, what you have to do, caller, in order to be able to get that free hot dog, is you come in and you simply say the word of the day. And caller, I actually know exactly who you are now that you say that. And you never said the word of the day once. So if you want to come in to Nick's Hot Dogs between 11 and 12 o'clock and state the word of the day, guess what? You will get your first free hot dog on me. But you have to come up to me and you have to say the word of the day. And I said that earlier today. So I will see you there between 11 and 12 o'clock. And I hope to see you soon. So, caller, you're live in 1480 WSAR. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
Good.
All right, let's go down the grading. So, exercising presidential power.
A.
Legislating.
A B.
Coalition building.
A B.
America's standing in the world.
I think he has an A.
And moral leadership.
B.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you think he's at least above par. At most, he's doing really good. What do you think?
Can I say something?
Sure.
I think if the Democratic Party, instead of being against everything he's proposing, propose items of their own, like a budget, which they don't do, and I think if they gave them a better chance, and I think if the independent, I mean not the independent, but the multimedia, ABC, CBS, NBC, gave him a shot instead of always dumping on him at press conferences, I think he would be more respected by the American people.
Calder, thank you so much for your points. We're getting we're almost at the end of the show, so thank you again. I really
have a wonderful day. You got a great program.
Thank you so much. I hope to hear from you on Monday, because we're on Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We bring it to you live on Facebook Live, on WSAR.com, Spindle City Auto Glass Studio Cam, through the TuneIn Radio app, by typing in 1480 WSAR and on the AM airwaves.